Hello, my name's Dave Heidemann and welcome to theaquaticeye.com. I have one goal in this series of presentations, and that's to help the part-time recreational diver learn to take good, even compelling underwater images, while at the same time avoiding many of the mistakes and mishaps that unfortunately I have made over the years. Okay? It's not about how expensive your equipment is or how exotic the dive destination is. It's really what I learned about a big picture approach to the mindset. And the preparation and effort starts before the dive trip. It occurs during the dive trip, in between the dives, all right? And it also involves some work after the dive trip. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this series. Let me show you some examples. Here's an example. In the early 2000s, I would generally go on 1 or 2 dive or snorkel trips per year. Here is a topside image of a dusk shore dive that I was about to go on in Carousel in 2005 at about 25 feet depth. I went on this dive and found a little balloon fish, followed it around for a while, and was able to come up with this wonderful image. I just loved it. I was able to capture this image, take it topside, show it to my family and friends, and I was hooked. I got this image with a very inexpensive point and shoot underwater digital camera with one simple strobe. However, a couple years before that, in the early 2000s, when I would go on 1 or 2 dive trips or snorkel trips per year, despite the best of intentions and a lot of excitement, I took so many bad photos, had so many mishaps and missed opportunities, and often returned very disappointed. Let me show you a few examples. Here's an image I took of a beautiful green moray eel. Came out very blurred, quite disappointing. I was struck by the color and the beauty of the coral reef at about 40 feet depth. I didn't have a strobe at the time. When I returned, where's all the color? Where's the contrast? Where's all the beauty? Very washed out, quite disappointing. I got a strobe about a year later and tried to figure out how to use it, though I didn't practice with it much. And here's a nice snake eel where the focus is fairly sharp, but it's too overexposed, too much lighting. Another example of this nice squirrel fish that I took on a dusk dive, the strobe was too far away. I didn't understand that the strobe's only going to go about 3 or 4 feet underwater. Here's an example where I got better lighting with my strobe, but severe backscatter. If you can see in this image, it looks like she's swimming in a snowstorm or a blizzard. Really not an acceptable image. So disappointing. On a night dive in the Caymans, I had my little point and shoot camera with my strobe. I saw this beautiful octopus and was very excited and so disappointed that I cropped off its head. I didn't understand something called shutter lag, where you push the shutter and there's a slight delay in when it actually captures the image. Here's a beautiful large green moray eel kind of hiding under a ledge, and I took many, many pictures trying to get one, and my strobe was not maneuverable. I couldn't get the strobe to illuminate anything but the tip of its nose. So this is just a few examples of some of the disappointments and obstacles. What I had failed to realize those years ago is I didn't understand and appreciate certain special obstacles that we have regarding underwater photography. One is the water column. The water removes color, contrast, clarity. In addition to that, you're moving around, the subject's often moving around. It's very easy to get blurred out of focus pictures as well as poorly lit pictures. Okay? Another is all the equipment. In addition to monitoring your dive, you have to look at your dive equipment and gauges. You have to be familiar with your camera and camera setup. It's so easy to succumb to task overload. Another is the limited time we have underwater. The dives are not that long. Not only do we have to deal with our equipment issues, navigate the dive site, we have to find a suitable subject to photograph, then we have to approach it without scaring it away, and finally we have to take decent pictures. So many things can go wrong. And that's why in this series, I'm going to go through 10 steps on how an amateur recreational diver like me can more quickly learn to take good underwater pictures, again, while avoiding many of the costly mistakes that I've made. Well, this pretty much concludes the introduction. Thank you for your attention. And now we're going to go on to step 1 of the 10-step series, safety. Thank you.